We are our ancestors. We are our children. I don't know whether you remember anything from your stay in the womb of your mother. All of us spent about 9 months there. That's quite a long time. I suppose some of us may still remember something, some feeling. Did we smile or cry during that time? I believe that all of us had a chance to smile during that 9-month stay. When we're happy, there's a natural tendency to smile. I've seen children smile in their sleep. There must be something wonderful in them to smile like that. I believe that most of us still remember the time spent in the wombs of our mothers. We may only have the impression that we were in a completely safe and protected paradise, where we didn't have to worry about anything at all. Now we have lost the paradise inside of our mother. In Vietnamese, the word for uterus is tu cung, the palace of the child. In this palace, our mother ate for us, drank for us, and breathed air for us. Do you think that in the womb of your mother you dreamed from time to time? We hadn't yet seen the sky or the rivers outside, but in our dreams there might have been something. Perhaps while our mother was dreaming, we saw what she saw. If our mother dreamed about something that was not very pleasant and cried out, maybe we cried out too. If our mother smiled, perhaps we smiled also. We and our mother were something like one person, not two. Between ourselves and our mother there was a physical link through the umbilical cord. Through the umbilical cord our mothers channeled food, drink, oxygen, everything, including love. That doesn't mean that our fathers didn't channel anything to us during that time. Some of us had a father who knew we were there, and who knew to take very good care of our mother so she could take care of us. Some of us had a father who talked to our mother in a loving voice, or talked gently to us in our mother's belly, knowing we could hear him. Some of us had a mother who talked to us as well when we were still inside of her. Perhaps we heard her and we responded. Probably from time to time our mother forgot we were there, so we'd give a kick to remind her. Our kick is a bell of mindfulness, and when our mother felt it, she could respond like this: "Darling, I know you are there, and I'm very happy." When we were born, someone cut the umbilical cord. We cried aloud for the first time. We had to breathe for ourselves. There was a lot of light around. Our mother continued to hold us. Now we were outside our mother, but we were still inside somehow. Our mother embraced us with love. We embraced our mother. Although the cord was no longer there, we were linked to our mother in a very concrete and intimate way. Interbeing. With the practice of meditation, we can still see the cord connecting us to our mother. We can see that our mother is not only outside of us, but inside as well. The umbilical cord is still there. When we look deeply, we see that there are umbilical cords linking us to other things, other people. Imagine an umbilical cord linking you to the sun. The sun rises every morning, and thanks to the sun we have light, we have heat. Without the sun, without heat, we can't survive. We depend on the sun in the same way a baby depends on his mother. So an umbilical cord links us to the sun. Another umbilical cord links us to the clouds in the sky. Because if the clouds were not there, there would be no rain, no water to drink, no milk, no tea, no coffee, no ice cream, nothing. There's another cord linking us to the river, and another one linking us to the forest. If we continue, we see that we are linked to everything and everyone in the cosmos. We depend on other beings in order to exist. We need both living and non-living beings, such as plants, minerals, air, and water. When you grow up, you might believe that you and your mother are two different people. But it's not really so. We're extensions of our mother. We mistakenly believe that we're a different person than our mother. We are a continuation of our mother and father, and our ancestors as well. Imagine a grain of corn we plant in the soil. 7 days later, it sprouts and begins to take the form of a cornstalk. When the stalk has grown high, we won't see the kernel anymore. But the kernel hasn't died. It's still there. Looking deeply, we can still see the kernel in the stalk. The kernel and the stalk are not two different entities. One is the continuation of the other. The stalk is the continuation of the kernel in the direction of the future, and the kernel is the continuation of the stalk in the direction of the past. They are neither the same thing nor two different things. You and your mother are not exactly the same person, but you are not exactly two different people either. This is a very important teaching. No one can be by himself or herself alone. We have to interbe, connected with everyone and everything else. If we look into one cell of our body, or one cell of our consciousness, we recognize the presence of all the generations of ancestors in us. Our ancestors are not only human beings. Before human beings appeared, we were other species. We have been trees, plants, grasses, minerals, a squirrel, a deer, a monkey, and one-celled animals. All these generations of ancestors are present in each cell of our body and mind. We are the continuation of this stream of life. Suppose I hold a leaf in my hand. What do you see? A leaf is a leaf. It is not a flower. But in fact, when we look deeply into the leaf, we can see many things. We can see the plant. We can see the sunshine. We can see the cloud. We can see the earth. When we utter the word leaf, we have to be aware that a leaf is made of non-leaf elements. If we remove the non-leaf elements, such as the sunshine, the clouds, and the soil, there will be no leaf left. So it is with our bodies and ourselves. We are not the same as, nor are we separate from, other living and non-living beings. We are connected to everything, and everything is alive. The karma of thought, speech, and action. Composers or painters often sign their name when they create a piece of music or art. In our daily life, we produce thought, speech, and action. When we produce a thought, it bears our signature. Looking into our thinking, whether it's right or wrong, we see it always bears our name, because it's our product. Right thinking is the thinking that goes along with understanding, compassion, and insight. In our daily life, we have to be careful to produce thoughts that are in line with right thinking. We have an opportunity to produce right thinking in every moment of our life. Our thinking is the basis of our speech and actions. We transmit our thoughts, speech, and actions, collectively known as our karma, to our children and to the world. That is our future. Everything we say is also a product of our person. Whether our speech is right speech or wrong speech, it bears our signature. What we say may cause anger, despair, or pessimism. Our words can cause damage. So with mindfulness, we may enjoy producing only right speech, the kind of speech that goes along with understanding, compassion, joy, and forgiveness. With the practice of mindfulness, we can produce right speech at every moment, loving speech that will bear our signature. That is what we hand down to our children and to the world. That is our continuation. Our physical actions also bear our signature. Whatever we do that helps protect life, helps people to suffer less, and expresses our comprehension and compassion, is right action. Let us be mindful not to produce any act that has the nature of violence, hatred, fear, and discrimination, because these acts will also bear our signature. We can't deny that it's our product. It has really come from us. We produce ourselves. We produce our own future. We have to offer our best thoughts, speech, and actions. Mindfulness helps us to know whether we're producing the right thing for the future, and helps us remember that what we produce is us, is our continuation. Walking with our ancestors. When we were only 4 years old, we probably thought, I'm only a 4-year-old child, a son or a daughter, a little brother or sister. But in fact, we were already a mother, already a father. All past and future generations were there in our body. When we take a step on the green grass of spring, we walk in such a way that allows all our ancestors to take a step with us. The peace, joy, and freedom in each step will penetrate each generation of our ancestors and descendants. We walk with the energy of mindfulness, and with each step we see countless generations of ancestors and descendants walking with us. When we take a breath, we are light, calm, at ease. We breathe in such a way that all generations of ancestors and descendants are breathing with us. Only then are we breathing according to the highest teachings. We just need a little mindfulness, a little concentration, and then we can look deeply and see. At first we can use the method of visualization to see all our ancestors making a step with us. Gradually, we don't need to visualize anymore. With each step we take, we see it is the step of all people in the past and future. When we are cooking a dish that we learned to make from our mother or father, a dish that has been handed down through generations of our family, we should look at our hands and smile, because these hands are the hands of our mother, the hands of our grandmother. Those who have made this dish are making this dish now. When we're in the kitchen cooking, we can be completely mindful. We don't have to go into the meditation hall to practice like this. In the past, did your grandfather play volleyball? Did your grandmother go jogging every day? Did she have the opportunity to practice dwelling in the present moment while she was walking or running? When we are running, we should allow our grandmother to run in us. Your grandmother is in each cell of your body. You carry all your ancestors in you when you're jogging, when you're doing walking meditation, and when you're realizing the practice of dwelling happily in the present moment. Maybe previous generations didn't have the opportunity to practice like this. Now, whether we're practicing walking, running, or breathing mindfully, we have the opportunity to bring happiness and joy to countless generations of ancestors. When we agonize over questions like, who am I? Where do I come from? Was I wanted? What is the meaning of my life? We suffer, because we're caught in the idea of a separate self. But if we look deeply, we can practice no self. This is the realization that we're not a separate self. We're connected to our ancestors and to all living and non-living beings. Western psychotherapy aims at helping create a self that is stable and wholesome. But because psychotherapy in the West is still caught in the idea of self, it can bring about only a little transformation and a little healing. It can't go very far. As long as we are caught in the idea of a separate self, ignorance is still in us. When we see the intimate relationship between what is self and what is not self, ignorance is healed, and suffering, anger, jealousy, and fear disappear. If we can practice no self, we'll be able to go beyond the questions that make people suffer so much. We are a continuation of the stream of life. Maybe our parents weren't able to appreciate us, but our grandparents and our ancestors wanted us to come into life. The truth is that our grandparents, our ancestors, always wanted us to be their continuation. If we can know this, we will not suffer so much because of our parents' behavior. Sometimes our parents are full of love, and sometimes they're full of anger. This love and anger comes not only from them, but from all previous generations. When we can see this, we no longer blame our parents for our suffering. Habit energy. The purpose of meditation is to look at something deeply and see its roots. Whatever kind of action we take, if we look deeply into it, we'll be able to recognize the seed of that action. That seed may come from our ancestors. Whatever action we take, our ancestors are taking it at the same time with us. So father, grandfather, and great-grandfather are doing it with you. Mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother are doing it with you. Our ancestors are there in every cell of our body. There are seeds that are planted during your lifetime, but there are also seeds that were planted before you manifested as this body. Sometimes we act without intention, but that is also action. Habit energy is pushing us. Pushes us to do things without our being aware. Sometimes we do something without knowing we're doing it. Even when we don't want to do something, we still do it. Sometimes we say, I didn't want to do it, but it's stronger than me. It pushed me. So that is a seed, a habit energy, that may have come from many generations in the past. We've inherited a lot. With mindfulness, we can become aware of the habit energy that has been passed down to us. We might see that our parents or grandparents were also very weak in ways similar to us. We can be aware without judgment that our negative habits come from these ancestral roots. We can smile at our shortcomings, at our habit energy. With awareness, we have a choice. We can act another way. We can end the cycle of suffering right now. Perhaps in the past, when we've noticed ourselves doing something unintentional, something we may have inherited, and we've blamed ourselves. We saw ourselves as an individual, isolated self, full of shortcomings. But with awareness, we can begin to transform and let go of these habit energies. With the practice of mindfulness, we recognize that a habitual action has taken place. This is the first awareness that mindfulness brings. Then, if we're interested, mindfulness and concentration will help us look and find the roots of our action. That action may have been inspired by something that happened yesterday, or it may be 300 years old and have its roots in one of our ancestors. Once we become aware of our actions, we can decide whether or not it's beneficial, and if it's not, we can decide not to repeat that action. If we're aware of the habit energies in us, and can become more intentional in our thoughts, speech, and actions, then we can transform not only ourselves, but also our ancestors who planted the seeds. We are practicing for all our ancestors and descendants, not just for ourselves. We're practicing for the whole world. When we're able to smile at a provocation, we can be aware of our ability, appreciate it, and continue in this way. If we're able to do that, it means our ancestors are also able to smile at what is provoking them. If one person keeps calm and smiles at a provocation, the whole world will have a better chance for peace. The key is to be aware of what our actions are. Our mindfulness will help us understand where our actions are coming from.